Hi, it's James Garvey and Sean Sherlock, and we're here out the front of the Foghorn Brewhouse. These are our old heritage doors that we've put on. Why don't you come on inside and we'll show you our wonderful old venue. We're here on King Street, Newcastle, in an old industrial building from the 20s that we rejuvenated and put a brew pub in. We'll walk around through the venue in a little bit and show you all the unique aspects of our rejuvenated facility. And Sean will walk you through the brewing process right now and show you what all this wonderful kit we're surrounded by is.
Okay, so this vessel here is where we start the brewing process. So we're actually standing on the deck of the brewing platform where it all happens. And this vessel here is our mash tun. Basically, if your grain comes in that pipe at the top, comes down that chute there, and we mix it with water at exactly the right temperature. We've got big blades in there that turn around and mix everything up like a great big porridge. Makes the whole building smell fantastic early in the mornings on brew day. And we conduct what's called a mash. And basically that grain and hot liquor sits there for an hour, and the starches from the malted barley and malted wheat that we use convert into maltose, the sugar that we're going to ferment into beer later in the process. The next stage after that mash takes place, we pump it across into the second vessel, right in the middle. This is sort of the heart of the brew house, and that's our kettle. As the name suggests, what you do in a kettle is you boil. We actually bring, in this brewery's case, 2,000 litres of wort. Wort's unfermented beer, and we bring that up to a full rolling boil, and we keep that boiling for an hour and a half. And during that time is when we add our hops. The hops are the seasoning in beer. They're the bittering agent, the flavour and the aroma. A lot of the flavour and aroma in our beers is coming from the hops. And we'll boil for the hour and a half in there, adding hops early for bitterness, and then very, very late in the boil, right at the end of the boil for flavour and aroma. During that boil, about 100 litres boils off into the atmosphere, so we'll end up with 1,900 litres. We pump that as fast as we can across to the third vessel. And that vessel there is our whirlpool. So we spin that in, as the name suggests, forms a whirlpool, and basically it encourages all of the hops and all of the solids to settle down into the bottom in a cone shape, and we can draw as clear a runoff as possible. We run that out of there through a heat exchanger and across into our fermenters. So if you stand here and have a look, you've got 6 fermenters there. The beer will stay in those fermenters for anywhere from 3 weeks to 8 weeks, depending on the type of beer we do. 8 weeks for the lagers, 3 weeks for our ales. And at the end of that time, at the end of fermentation, that's when we pump across to our serving tanks. So one of the unique things about this brew house is we've got the serving tanks right behind the bar. So we only move the beer in the whole process once. It's really important. The more you move a beer, the more oxygen contact you have, the more stale it gets. And beer, good craft beer, is all about freshness. So you can't get any fresher than drinking direct from the serving tank behind the bar, right next to the brewery. So that's really key to what we do here. And yeah, we think that's what makes our beer great.
So behind our bar here, and the bar was made of black butt that we sourced with a local wood maker. A fairly long run, as you can see. We wanted to have the longest bar in Newcastle. We have a 70 kilowatt solar system on the roof that generates the power for all of our needs, typically while the sun is up. We're looking at battery systems down the track, and that powers our pizza oven and all the electrical appliances. It's working quite well for us. And you can see the size of the panels across the whole ceiling of this large building and the building outgoing to Darby Street. The other thing, throughout the entire venue, we have free Wi-Fi open to the public because we want to see the venue used as a workspace for companies and people that want to have meetings, and people that just need to get out of working from home, get in a new space for a little more creative input to what they're doing. Typically an environment change can have a wonderful effect, and that's what we've tried to do here, and that's why we're open Wednesday to Sunday early, most mornings 7:30, and Sean's in here brewing, and a number of staff making coffees and so on. So a whole variety of the community is using our venue and really teaching us what it can be used for. This is the exterior of this building. As you can see, it's an old industrial building. This is the back side of the building. So back then they would have considered it not a very nice front, and now we consider it one of the nicest architectural features of King Street. And certainly we've grown fond of it. We've put rosewood windows all through it and brought back the heritage front if we could. And we've also run a sculpture competition with the foghorn there, done by Lloyd Kellett. He won the sculpture competition that we ran in September. We hope to generate local sculptures across the front of the building as we go over a number of years. And that's the lovely King Street.